EliteConversations.com. EliteConversations.com. EliteConversations.com.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Elite Conversations Unplugged. I say Unlimited. Unplugged. I thank everyone for, again, joining us for another evening. Today, we're going to have an awesome show. We're going to be talking about your business and talking about those episodes in your life where you're stuck and not sure where to go in your business, or have some doubts in terms of where your passion is, and just how we can turn the page and ignite our energy, ignite our passion, and move to another level. But again, before we get started, I always like to thank my guests. I am so thankful. I have some awesome guests on here every week, powerful guests, and I want to thank Tamisha Seiler McNeil, who was on our show last week. She is the CEO of TSM Consulting Services, as well as the founder of Moms Rocks. And also want to thank Patrick Pete, the gift coach. He's a powerful speaker, minister, coach, and both of these individuals are excellent in terms of helping you tap into knowing what your gift is and using that to accelerate your business. So I, again, ask you to encourage you to support their upcoming conferences. It's not a coincidence, but they're both having a conference on the same day on May 27th, which is Memorial Day weekend. Moms Rocks is tailored towards mothers, and the gift coach and your gift conference is tailored towards business owners and those that are looking to assess where they are in their life and moving forward. So again, I thank you. I am the CEO of EliteConversations.com. Continue to follow us on our webpage as well as our Facebook page, and we are bringing this show to you every week at 7 p.m. So I want to welcome my guest, Dr. Johnny Parker. How you doing, sir?
I am great, Darrell Spears. Excited to be with you, my friend, tonight and your audience. So I'm excited.
Excellent, excellent. Just a little bit about Dr. Parker. As a leadership consultant and executive coach, Dr. Johnny Parker works with men and women to achieve success by viewing their lives as a story. Through his Turn the Page system, many CEOs, pro athletes, and other men and women have discovered the story they were born to live. Johnny's work has been featured on CNN International and national media outlets. He and his bride, Leslyn, reside near Washington, D.C., along with their three sons, JP, Jordan, and Joel. And JJ, their highly active
Don't forget
Cocker
JJ.
Spaniel.
Like another son.
No, yes, can't leave out JJ. So thank you, sir. Just share with us a little bit. You're doing so much in the community, so much now in the business world. You have a strong background in leadership and building up men through ministry, through discipleship, and you have taught a lot of men, including myself, how to turn the page in our personal lives, and not just men and women. Also, you and your wife have done some outstanding work on the marriage, going out and speaking all over the country and helping couples make it through life and excel in both their life and business. And now you've taken that and put it into a book, and you're now helping business owners look at their lives, look at turning the page. So how are you keeping everything in order? What's going on these days?
Well, I tell you, I got to live out that book, Darrell. I mean, in the book, I lay out the idea that your life in your business is like in 3D. You gotta have a dream, know your story. You have to have a design where you align your story, and you have to know your, when you got those two, you have destiny, the third D, master your story. So I've had to live out, I'm 55. I made the speed limit this year in some states. And so, yeah, I've had to live out every one of these pieces, every one of these elements that I write about, and so yeah, so I have to be, being successful you don't drift to success.
Wow. Yeah.
You have to be intentional. Success does not happen automatically; it happens intentionally. So, I have burnt myself out, and that's been part of the painful point, in, like you said, getting stuck in a bad story, in my leadership at times, and in the business of the Parker Group of what we do in terms of helping leaders, pro athletes, CEOs, and high impact men and women achieve success by viewing their life as a story. I have gotten stuck myself in a bad story, and I've had to learn through trial and error, and just pursuing the wrong things, chasing after a finish line that doesn't even exist.
Wow.
And so in my writing and in my work, I'm very transparent and seek to be very vulnerable. I think that's an important way to lead. And so yeah, I've had to really live out what I write about and what I coach about.
Okay, that's excellent. And talk a little bit about some of the individuals that you're helping so far in the Turn the Page, and just how your workshops work in terms of how that works.
So that's our brand. Turn the Page is our brand. The idea that your life, your leadership, your team, your marriage, your organization is telling a story. Okay. Every life does. You go into a Starbucks, you go into a Panera Bread, people are walking in and out of those stores and businesses and CEOs in business and throughout life. Everyone's carrying in their, this kind of like this thought bubble. They got a story going on in their life. And so my job is to help you unpack that story, help you unlock that story. So we do Turn the Page couples. We do Turn the Page faith-based. We do Turn the Page. We're heading to Atlanta in the morning to do a book signing and to do a faith-based Turn the Page version. We do Turn the Page corporate. I do a lot of executive coaching with CEOs and helping them with their culture, helping them with emotional intelligence. I mean, my gosh, Darrell, 90% of a leader's effectiveness and performance is based on their ability to be emotionally intelligent. Wow. Huge amount. I mean, people who are emotionally intelligent in our work, we found that you earn $55,000. I mean, you earn about $30,000 more a year just by being emotionally intelligent. Well, we want to help leaders and managers with that idea of that business story. So we do Turn the Page, like I said, corporate, through executive coaching, through team building, helping them with their culture, which is basically the way things are done around here. How do you help change that culture? How do you move that Titanic and get that boat turned in a better, healthier direction and have a healthier culture? And so we do that in so many different ways. And then in pro sport, of course, I've been a life coach and with the Redskins, you knew that, and we just literally, came back from a cruise 2 weeks ago with the Pittsburgh Steelers. My wife and I did Turn the Page couples with leaders in the Steeler community, and as well as helping them, current players, with their own personal development and their own personal story.
Wow, that's awesome. And what I want to do, I've actually seen a video that we're going to share in just a couple of seconds. And right after we come back from that video, I want to talk a little bit about your book, Turn the Page, Unlocking the Story from Within, by Dr. Johnny Parker. And this is an awesome book, and it really talks about how you've crafted a series of steps and stuff to really help guide us through the Turn to Life process. So before we go into the book, I want to take about a minute and just show this video to those that are watching.
Can I trust you? Are you committed to this? Do you care about me? I don't care if it's organization, team, marriage, family, parenting. These three questions are true, and you need to make sure they're being answered yes, yes, and yes. If an organization or a person's life does never work through the drama and turn the page, drama turns into horror. And self-leadership precedes every form of leadership. Before you could be a team of we, you got to be a me. And you got to be a healthy me, because it takes a healthy me to form a strong we. You will either be a fragrance or an odor. When you're a fragrance, you bring happiness wherever you go. When you're an odor, you bring happiness whenever you go. Your organization is telling a story. The question is, are you telling the story that you want?
Excellent, excellent. What a powerful, powerful video. And that's just the beginning of the power of turning the page and just the impact that you can get as in terms of following your steps and coming into a classroom setting and hearing the teaching and stuff from you. So we have this book, man, that's hot off the press.
Hot off the press.
You just released it, what, about 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, about 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Wow. Well, again, this talks about us, you crafting a series and giving us a guide on how to do that. And this comes after, 30 years of working working with professionals. So share a little bit about the book and what we can expect by reading this book.
Well, one of the pieces that we first start off with the idea of clarify your quest. That's the idea that you have to have stillness before you have strategy. A lot of times when people are going at their life and trying to figure out their purpose, looking at their business, they want to go right into the strategy session. But before you do that, you really need to have some time to be still. I mean, that's a great biblical verse, even be still and know that I'm God. And so I tell a story in the book of just getting some water from the Chesapeake, and it had all kind of particles. And in order to get clarity, you let the water sit in the cup, clear cup, and you can see the particles go to the bottom, and the water gets clearer at the top. Wow. That's very, very important. You got to have stillness. Stillness is the gateway to clarity. So I help leaders understand. Let's be very, very clear. You want to be a voice, not an echo. You don't want to plagiarize someone else's life, brand, or story. What's the unique story in you? If money's not an issue, what would you do? If you were to die, what would the world have lost? If what's inside of you is what's in terms of emerging from what's inside of you, if it were never to come to fruition, what would the world have lost? And so those are very, very important questions in terms of the whole clarify your quest. Who are you? This is your corporate business identity, personal, professional. Who are you? What do you want? Why do you want it? This makes up what we call your signature story. Okay. So we start with that, Darrell. And then we move from there on what we call demand bold truth. That's taking fearless inventory of your challenges and your strengths. It's very, very important in business and in life that you own your story. You don't blame others for why your story isn't working. And I have, as many people who have a lot of experience in the blame game, it goes all the way back to the Bible. Adam blames Eve and blames God. I mean, it just doesn't work. Right. I tell the story about Howard Schultz. He's a New York guy like myself. Many people know him from Starbucks. Owner of Starbucks. Well, he was the chairman of the board, and he just stepped down a couple of months ago. But in 2008, he shut down several thousand Starbucks because he felt like they had wandered from the story they wanted to tell. Wow. And he said, how do we lose our way? He demanded both truth. I mean, people wanted, he summoned 200 of his chief executives from all over the country, senior executives, to come to Seattle, and he asked the question, how do we lose our way? Is it because of the 40,000 stores and openings that we've had? So he felt like they had really lost their way in terms of customer service and really representing the Starbucks brand. That's an example of demanding bold truth. In sports, it's Urban Meyer, who left $20 million on the table when he left University of Florida because he felt like he lost his way. He felt like the sport and coaching was he forgot his first love in terms of why he got into the sport. Okay. So demanding bold truth in business is remembering, why are you doing what you're doing? It keeps coming back to know your why. And so that's a courageous conversation of demanding bold truth, but it's also demanding bold truth in terms of your strengths, Darrell. We don't play it small. Too many times leaders play it small. Now, in our book, I refer to the leader as a leader is a mom is a leader, a dad is a leader, a coach is a leader, a CEO is a leader, obviously. But leadership to us is not defined by your 9 to 5 or your corner office or your title. Leadership is a series of relationship opportunities, and business, we must always be emphasizing our strengths and building those relationships. Businesses exist because there's a problem. Your client has a headache and your business is Advil. That's basically what we're talking about, right? And so, but I got to know my strengths, and it's easy to play it small and dumb it down.
Okay.
The world needs business leaders and needs people to play to their strength and to not play it small, not dumb it down. And so, in my language, I call it the page turner. And Darrell, I define the page turner as the person who does the common thing in an uncommon way, experiencing uncommon results.
Wow.
Let me say that again. It's the person who does the common thing in an uncommon way, experiencing uncommon results. And leading this way, demanding both truth and leading this way, requires for leaders to lead with a deep level of humility and vulnerability. Very, very important. Yeah.
It's funny. I was working with a client just today, and she's getting ready to launch a new component of her business, a whole new entity, and we were talking about the website. Yeah. And I was telling her, well, you need to add a section for your story, because I remember you coaching me on that. But again, it didn't dawn on me that I was really telling her, hey, other people need to know your story, need to hear your story. But you just said something even more powerful in what happened with Starbucks, is that you also are setting it up for yourself so that when it is time to turn the page, or to know if you've moved away from your story.
Right, exactly.
It's important to know your story up front to even know when you're out of line or when you need to turn the page or whatever. So is that one of the steps in terms of from day one, or if you haven't done it, you've been in business, now you need to stop and say, hey, what is my story? What is my purpose? What is my cause?
You have, because the idea of your story is a competitive advantage in business. It's the differentiator. It separates you from other people. No one has your story.
Right.
And too many businesses run away from their story. I'm working with, I have several of my clients, and I'm constantly coaching them around their website and your story. So, for example, one of my clients is in the defense contracting industry, and they've been around for over 20 years. And I said, well, why did you start the business? And so he's giving me a very technical description, but I said, come on, give me your heart story. Why did you start the business? He says, you know why I started the business, Dr. Parker? Because we wanted to create product to keep our sons and daughters safe who are in harm's way in the military. I said, that's your story. I said, that's huge. I said, the guy who cuts grass and replaces the toilet paper in the bathroom could get with that story.
Right.
He may not understand all the widgets and everything you're doing, but you need to tell that story, because telling a story is 22 times more memorable than a fact. And it's going to connect with heartstrings. It's how people make decisions, and it's memorable. You got to tell your story in business. It's got to be simple, it's got to be memorable, and it's got to be repeatable. And there's no better way to communicate that than to a story. So yeah, in business, please, on your website, tell your story. Right. The story is made up of 3 parts. In Turn the Page, we talk about it. What's your desire? What's been so DCR, desire, challenge, resolve. Your desire starting your business, what's been the challenges, what has been resolved. So it's very, very important that the story has those 3 components.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, you've coached me up on that, and it's so powerful. And this, I can say, is even more important for you. Yeah. Because you go into business for a reason, other than thinking about, what your story should be and what your life should be. And that was one of the reasons I decided to go into business, is because there were certain things in my life that I wanted to do for, society and for others. So that's powerful. So as a business owner, looking at their business and looking at their structure, how should they start to assess themselves? I'm sure for some folks that are listening or watching don't know where to start in terms of creating their story, and I'm just trying to get to some practical things they can do to start to sit down and say, hey, do they look at what they love? Do they look at what their passion is? Or where should they start to say, hey, this is my story for my life, and how to incorporate that into my story for my business if they decide to go that route? Yeah,
so here's the deal. So there's 5 elements in what I describe in the Turn the Page system. So we talked about 2 of them. Clarify your quest. That's where you got to be really, really clear. What's the story I want my life business to tell? So that's the first element. Second element, demand bold truth, taking fearless ownership of my challenges and my strengths. The third one is what you just asked, Darrell. It's the idea of engaging community. You've heard me say this before. You can't, a leader, a business, you can't know a CEO, you can't know yourself, grow yourself, by yourself.
Absolutely.
That's why Elite Conversations is such an important, what you bring is so important. So what does that mean? I have glaucoma. I didn't know I had glaucoma. I was diagnosed 3 years ago. I thought because I'm in my 50s, my eyes getting a little weak, faint. And so how did I know I had glaucoma? Because I had a doctor who was in my space and looking at my eyes from different angles to help me see what I couldn't see. So to answer your question, CEOs and business owners and entrepreneurs and people who want to launch who want to launch businesses, you have to have, it could be a mastermind where you're with like-minded people, and the idea is a collaborator, not a competitor. But you're collaborating. You're the idea. You can't know yourself, grow yourself by yourself, and you begin to get someone to help you see what you can't see.
Right.
Why? Again, that's where executive coaching, is very, very powerful. Why do you want to start this business? So, for example, one of the things that we offer is, and I just did it today with one of my clients. This guy has multiple businesses, and so we did it at his cigar lounge down in St. Mary's County. And so if I smell like cigars there, that's why.
Okay.
But anyway, so I'll take them through what's called the Bourne identity. I'm a Jason Bourne movie fan. So what we do, we look at your life in 10-year intervals, 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30. He's 41. And so what you see, you're looking for patterns. So you have decades, you have themes, you have emotions, and you have title of the story. Well, when you do an exercise like that, a CEO sees that, and I've done it on multiple CEOs and leaders, patterns become clearer. Things begin to emerge, and you begin to connect dots. That's what's shaping the business. That's what's shaping the story, and it's a very emotional experience when people see it. They start seeing their life on a wall. They see their story on a wall. Tremendous high definition clarity begins to emerge, and it goes back to point one: stillness before strategy. Know the story I want for my life and for my business. This guy was very clear. He left the company he was with. He was with Booz Allen. He left the company because he wanted to be able to be a dad, and make sure that he had energy and time to be a dad. That was a major story for him.
That is a major story.
Yeah, and so then one other practical tool that we have, and this may sound morbid and crazy, but I actually have business owners write out their obituary. Yeah, biblical concept. Steve Jobs talks about this. He gave a talk at Stanford University in 2006, and he gave 3 stories, and third story is about how thinking about him, his death, and dying one day galvanized him and motivated him to get real clear and also to take risks, realizing that one day he was going to die. And so, and that comes from the scriptures in Ecclesiastes, that it's better to be in a place of mourning than in a party, because so you're kind of going backwards, and so you're looking at your life and you're writing out your obituary, and then you get to that point, Darrell, with leaders and business owners and people begin to look at their life and thinking about, how do I want my legacy to be? What do I want to be known as? What do I want to be remembered as? And a quick story around that: the whole Nobel Peace Prize. I don't know, do you know the history of how that thing got started?
No, I don't.
It's amazing. So Nobel, Alfred Nobel, was he was known as an engineer. He created dynamite. And so his company was a scientist. He was a guy who helped create dynamite.
Wow.
And so a French newspaper incorrectly published his death, and it was his brother Ludwig. Well, they talked about Alfred Nobel's death, and this is what they said about him: that he was the creator of death and doom. He read his obituary, Darrell, and he read that. He said, I don't want to be known as a creator of death and doom. He said, I want to be creator of life, and that's where we get the Nobel Peace Prize.
Wow.
So he began to put money and energy into, how do I help the world be a better place? How do we create peace in the world?
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. And again, guys, I thank you so much for joining us. I am Darrell Spears of EliteConversations.com, and we are talking to Dr. Johnny Parker, the CEO of the Parker Group, the author of many books, but the author of his next book, or his recent book, Turn the Page, Unlocking the Story Within You. So I want, before we start to close out, we're getting close to finishing up, talk a little bit about, I mean, this is an awesome book. We're going to talk about where to find that, but talk a little bit about the Parker Group and what the Parker Group does for individuals and business owners that need your services.
Well, we help people grow their performance, profit, productivity through personal professional development.
Okay,
that's what we do. So we'll help you. We will look at. We'll help you. With especially in your EQ, emotional intelligence kind of stuff, and your soft skill stuff, and so sometimes people make an argument that I want to just be on the BQ side and business side, and that soft stuff doesn't have any play. Well, that if you're that good on the soft skills, the soft skill stuff, the hard skill stuff will one day become a soft skills issue. So anyway, we do a lot of personal professional development. In the business community, we offer that, a lot of executive coaching, sitting down with CEOs and aspiring entrepreneurs, and really help them get clear before they move out on their story and their why and those kind of things. And of course, then we do Turn the Page. So we do Turn the Page corporate, Turn the Page executive coaching, Turn the Page couples, faith-based leadership development. That's where I'm heading down to Atlanta this weekend to do that. And then I'm a professor, I teach at Hopkins as well, and I teach a brand of psychology that's really, really cool called Positive Psychology, and the book has a lot of that research in it, where it's helping businesses understand a scientific approach to raising your performance, raising your productivity, raising your sense of flourishing as a business, flourishing as a leader. So it's a scientific approach to looking at how people, organizations, teams flourish, Darrell. So we look at things like gratitude and grit and passion and perseverance, and it's all backed by science, and so we bring that to businesses. We help them bring that to their cultures so that they can retain great people and leave people better off and grow their profits. And so anyway, those are the things, and we're cool. And you can go to our website, JohnnyParker.com, Johnny with a Y, and so there's things there. But to get the book, you got to go to Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah, and so you go to Amazon.com and just put in Dr. Johnny Parker, Turn the Page. And if you get the book, please, it would really, really be cool if you would be so kind to write a review. Hopefully it's a positive review.
Absolutely.
So we have some really cool people that endorsed that book, former NFL quarterbacks and people in business, people Hopkins, and so we got some really strong endorsements, and really excited about it.
Excellent. So guys, definitely go out and get the book, Turn the Page. It is an awesome book, and it'll talk about unlocking the story within you. I encourage you to also check out Dr. Parker. I mean, he's a passionate and gifted speaker, great coach. So for you that are out there, that are CEOs, that are executives, and just in the place where, sometimes you don't even know that you're in a place to turn the page. And that's something we didn't touch on. Maybe you can touch on it real quick. But definitely go to theparkergroup.com, and if you're looking for someone to speak, he's a great person. But go ahead.
Oh, make sure it's JohnnyParker.com. JohnnyParker.com. Go there.
Oh, Johnny Parker.
Yeah, JohnnyParker.com.
Okay.
Maybe one day we should put a ParkerGroup.com one day. Give me an idea. But, two quick things, though. We got two events that are local here.
Talk about that.
Yeah, one is on the first Saturday in May. I'll be speaking at our church, First Baptist Church of Glenarden.
Excellent.
And I'll be sharing some concepts from the book there, and people who struggle with being angry with God.
Wow.
And so that'll be on the first Saturday evening in May. And you can go to First Baptist Church of Glenarden's website. And so that's there. And then the second Saturday, of course, our huddle that we do at First Baptist, and I'll be speaking about this concept of Turn the Page, and that one is aimed towards men. And so that'll be the second Saturday in May at 8:15 in the morning, again at our church. So those are two local events that are coming up that I think your guest would really enjoy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that second event is a men-only event.
It is a men-only event.
Get us together and really get a chance to learn the word under your teaching. So we're going to close out. Just give us a closing thought, or talk to those, again, business owners out there that are just not sure where they want to go. They're frustrated with their business right now, not sure and confident in themselves, and just talk about real quick in a minute and a half, or what are some of the things that you do to get you past those roadblocks, to get you past those challenges that continue to come as a business owner. Again, with EliteConversations.com, we're constantly trying to help business owners, in areas of the financial stuff and the knowledge base. Sure. But there's a lot emotionally that we don't get a chance to talk about. But I'd like for you to just say how can you get past that?
Yeah, no, great question, Darrell. And so in the book, I show this design as a diagram in the book. I call your front stage or backstage. So the front stage tends to be all the stuff that you got to do to get up and running, your financing, your strategy, all the technical stuff, your all the front stage stuff that you got to do in any business to be viable and to be profitable. So you got your front stage stuff, and that's critical. We got to have that. I call that the BQ, the business quotient. Well, the backstage is what you just described, Darrell. That's the EQ. That's the stuff of of my motives, which are very, very important. Why am I doing what I'm doing? So this is where, again, I reiterate the idea that CEOs, business leaders, and aspiring entrepreneurs must be really got to have high definition clarity on who am I? Who am I? Who am I? What do I want? Why do I want it? Who am I called to leave better off than how I found them? I think healthy businesses do that. It can't just be I want to make a lot of money, then we got Enron. And then you have the chance of running and going awry if all I want to do is just be greedy and just be a consumer and just make money. No, I think a healthy business, I think the Proverbs speak to this, healthy businesses and CEOs understand that a generous leader, a generous CEO, a generous, again, my word, page turner, refreshes others and leaves others better off. In business, we call that adding value. It's value proposition. So in business, it's the idea that first, backstage, I'm a generous CEO. I'm a generous person. Okay, now, understanding that, Darrell, when you have business quotient and emotional quotient, there's going to be tension, because you can go to an extreme on either one of those. If you go to extreme on business quotient and just making money, you have Enron. You have to run the risk of becoming Enron, and we know how that story ended. But if you just go on, I just want to be good to people and be loving and be a compassionate leader, well, then we run out of business. We go out of business because we're not making money. So we're not social workers either, right? Exactly. So you got to do both well, and so that's what I want to help leaders understand. Their signature story. It's got to start there. Who am I? What do I want? Why do I want it? Who am I called to leave better off than how I found them? Who makes up my supporting cast in my story to help me articulate a great business story, a great life story, so my business, my life is triumphant and not a tragedy.
Excellent, guys. I'm sure you all have gotten a earful tonight. This has been truly an outstanding episode, and we want to thank Dr. Parker again for joining us. Again, please go get the book, Turn the Page, Unlocking the Story Within You. Please go to his website, drparker.com.
JohnnyParker.com.
Dr. Johnny Parker.
Well, you give me some ideas for new websites. You gave me two now. Yeah, JohnnyParker.com. There you go.
Get that right. And I thank you again for checking in with us with Business Unplugged. You guys are always there every week supporting us. I thank you so much for being there for us. Again, the EliteConversations.com is geared on providing you the knowledge, resources, and connections that you need to take your business to the next level. So again, my name is Darrell Spears. I'm the CEO of EliteConversations.com. We look forward to seeing you or hearing you or having you join us next week. Again, as I always say, every day is a good day if you do it God's way, and He is always the smartest one in the room. You have a good night. Thank you.
That's good. Thank you.